what's going on out there? This your boy Poe from Cleveland. Welcome back to the show, Ambitious Bills Champions Podcast. And today, I just want to dive in and give you a little bit of the host, Poe, my background, how it all started, where it led to, and where I'm at today, just to give you some insight on what's going on. I hope everybody having a good time out there. But I just want to dive in today and tell you guys where it all started back in '89. My father started training me for boxing on 103rd and Benham in this little red house. As I think about this, it's funny because I used to be a real young, active little guy, anxious to do stuff and impress my parents. And I just had a thrill out of that. I love making my mother and father proud of me, you know. So on 103rd and Benham in the little red house, my father used to be in the living room. He used to be in a recliner sitting back. And I used to be playing with my little cars though. He'd be like, champ. I say, huh? He said, you want to train today? I'm like, yeah. I used to be excited when he asked me that to come train. So I'll go put on these little black shorts I had because always wanted to be like Mike Tyson when I was younger because Mike Tyson was a dog back then. I'm talking about he was knocking shit out, hurting shit. I'm talking about Tyson was that man. So my father tell me to put my shorts on. I come in that little square living room. It had brown carpet. I'll never forget this. I'll be in the corner. He'd be like, you ready? I'm like, yeah. He'd be like, box. And I'll come out and I'll just be shadow boxing. I'm talking about I'll be shadow boxing so hard. So I'll do that for like 3 rounds, 1 minute. My father be like, stop, rest, box. This where it all started, y'all. I promise. So as I got older, my father had been training me for a while, so he got a position to get this gym on 131st and Union. It was called Alexander Hamilton Recreation Center. That was the first gym, free recreation center gym that my father was a volunteer coach at to start training for USA Boxing. So we trained there for a while, and my father trained other little kids in the neighborhood that came to the gym. I was so seasoned of being around older kids that he was training, and then my father was always making me do extra credit homework with the boxing at the house, if you know what I mean. Actually, my old man, I love him, man. He was a Vietnam veteran. He fought in the Vietnam War back in them days. So it was like what my dad learned in the army, he put me through that with boxing. I'm talking about a very militant man. I was up in the morning, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning before school start running, getting my running in, and I have to go to school. Then after school, we straight to the gym. So I had my first fight, like I told y'all, in '89. Um, I fought downtown at the Cleveland Athletic Club. If you guys familiar with that, it was like a private club. This guy named Clint Martin threw it, which you'll hear about later on in my story. But he had matched me up with this young guy from Freddy's, BC, and Lorraine, Ohio. This little Puerto Rican kid. He was a tough Puerto Rican kid too. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm talking about. For some reason, they hit hard. I'm not gonna lie. If a person got someone they punch or they're a decent boxer, I'm never the one that hate. I'm always give them their flowers. But he was a tough opponent. But my father having me seasoned and he molded me and trained me at a young age and going years before I had my first fight, I had my first fight in '89. So I was about 8, 7 when my father really started putting me together and making sure I got it down packed. But I went in that first fight, I bloody dude up. I won that fight unanimously. My first amateur fight, and I'll never forget, it was this rich guy. My mom and my little brother, my grandmother, my auntie was sitting next to. When I won the fight, the rich guy gave my little brother, it was either 50 or $100. He gave it to my mom. I don't know, he might have betted on me or something, but I don't know. But anyway, this where it all started. And after that, I just stayed in the gym. I stayed consistent. I fought in tournaments like the Junior Olympics, the Ohio State Fair, club shows, Johnny Duncan. If you all know that name, yeah, I definitely fought on his shows. Out in EC training. I done been down the way POC training. I done been at Glenville Rec training. I'm Cleveland. You know, Cleveland is one of the best cities that produce the best fighters. And that's where I feel like we all slip at. Cleveland is the best city, well, one of the best cities. I have to correct myself. One of the best cities that the fighters come up from. We're so tough. You know, we've been through a lot. It's a fighting city. It's a fighting state. So, of course, I never disagree with that guy that say Ohio runs boxing because we do lightweight. Actually, the whole Midwest, we got talent a little bit of everywhere. But once you conquer here, everything else is it's smooth sailing. We whooping ass all over this motherfucker. Ain't nobody fucking with the Midwest. When we all talk about game, training, focus, I just want to get this out there. My experience and what I've been through. Yeah, as I was telling y'all, the Midwest run boxing. The Midwest got the best athletes. If you really look at the picture, look at Floyd Mayweather, Clarissa Shields, LeBron James. Two from Michigan, one right here in Ohio. That's the proof right there. Need I say more? But let me get back to what I was talking about. As I was coming up in boxing, I started getting older. I was fighting in these tournaments. Now I'm at the age of about 15, about to turn 16, and my father had to go away for a minute. And like I said, my father did a thorough job. He had me trained to the T. I was a two, three. I won the Junior Olympics every year I fought in it. I won it in 2 years. You go out of town. You go to you start local, regional, national. So I won the Junior Olympics every year I fought in it. When I turned 15 and 16, now I'm able to go out of town. The only time I lost in the Junior Olympics in the regional was when I was about 13, and I lost to a guy named Dante Craig. I remember that like yesterday. It was in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Other than that, I always won the local regionals, and I always went to the national. So this first year, I'm 15 years old. My dad trained me. I go to the Junior Olympics, but my father had to go away for a while, so he sent me to the guy Clint Martin while he was away. This guy named Clint Martin did a thorough job of training me, keeping me intact, keeping my skills together, making sure I'm in shape, and making sure I'm ready for the fight. My Junior Olympic years, I ended up being ranked number 4 nationally. It was a guy named Saku Powell that beat me. I can't think of the number 2 and the 1, but I think Saku Powell might have won the whole thing. He might have been the number 1 guy. He beat me. When we went back, we had a tournament. We had a Junior Olympics. We'll start here local, then we'll go regional, then we'll go national. So once we go local, we'll probably go to one of the 5 regions around. That's why we was called Region 5 in the nationals. We either have the regionals in Ohio, in Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, or the southern part of Ohio. That's the two, because Ohio is divided in 2. So I would win that. We'll go to the national then. Who all win? We all team up together. There might be some guys from Ohio, Cincinnati, Chicago, Fort Wayne, or Gary, Indiana. We all a team. Once we fight and you win, we all a team. They're taking one of each in each weight class. So we in the nationals. We go out there. I made it to the semifinals and I lose. So they bring the fighters back to fight, have a box off. They had a red team, they had a green team, they had an orange team, hold on, red, green, orange, and a yellow team, a gold team. I was on the orange team. I'll never forget this. And this guy named Moses from Akron was on the red or green. He was on it, but Moses won it that year. I'll never forget that he won it. So we competing in these tournaments, And at the time, I'm focused on boxing. I'm focused on boxing, but it's not hitting me like the things I could accomplish or do if I stay really focused on this sport, man. I always felt like if my father wouldn't have never went away, I would have got there, but I can't really blame that on my father because it's up to me to be focused. He put the skills on me. He put it on me. I just was. This is the thing I want kids to hear about peer pressure, because when you're young, them are your years to focus and get rich. Because once you get older and you're grown up, if you don't have a big contract in sports, any sport, it could be football, basketball, boxing, baseball, whatever. That's why they start you off so young. You got to take off in the career. You got to take off in the career. Some might end up in warehouse jobs. Some might end up in restaurants. Some might end up on a police squad. Some might end up on being a fireman. Some might end up being an emergency dispatch. It's electrician, plumbing, construction. It's so many variety of jobs out here. You never know. But I'm telling this story because I hope to touch the youth. And this is my story. It's my channel, right? But back to what I was saying, my father had me equipped with all this talent. It wasn't hit me like, man, you could be rich. You reaching the national level with big names, with big names. The Hector Camacho Juniors, the Floyd Mayweathers, the David Reeds, the Fernando Vargas. Like, I was really reaching these levels. I was really like that. The fuck? I was really like that. I'm just being real. The proof out there. But when my father went away, I lost track. I lost vision. And it was like I was still fighting because the kids in school that I went to school with, they used to read about me in the paper. I was still fighting to make my father happy, to make my mom happy. But I really didn't see the vision like, man, you could be rich as fuck from this shit, bro. Like, they really get into a bag. So I'm getting up to my older teen years, like 18, 17. Now I'm going in this tournament called the Golden Gloves. And I'm a four-time Golden Glove champion. I've been to the national, like my guy that I interviewed, McGill, said numerous of times. I've been in the top 10 in the country numerous of times. And like I said, I used to be focused on fighting, but it really didn't click. Like, bro, you out there with big names. Like in '96, they had the National Golden Gloves downtown Cleveland. I'm talking about Floyd down there, David Reed, Fernando Vargas. I could go on and on with names. Matter of fact, Mike Tyson gave out trophies one of them nights. I forget what night, and my dude Julian Buford fought Jermaine Taylor. Whooped him. I look back at all this, y'all. I be like, what the fuck was I thinking about, man? I was right there. I was right the fuck there. What the fuck was I thinking about? Like, yo, meal ticket, all this shit. And Floyd always been a bad motherfucker. I'm gonna keep it real, y'all. Hey, he always been a bad motherfucker. I remember him and my boy. This my brother. It's my god brother. I love this brother, man. Tony the Tiger Hanshaw. That's my dog. I remember my father sent me down there. We was in Mansfield training for the Nationals. Like I've been through shit with this boxing shit, man. You know, and I ain't gonna let nobody strip me from that shit. That's why I made this channel to get my story out, to get other stories out, because boxing is a very harsh sport. It's a harsh game all the way around the board, in the ring, outside the ring, dealing with people. It's just a harsh sport, and if you don't have shit together, it could go sideways, And I think people should know everybody ain't gonna be no world champion. I hate to say it like that. I wish everybody all the luck, but everybody not gonna be a world champion. For instance, like I wasn't. I wasted time in the streets, being sidetracked with the women, the drugs, the money. You just be sidetracked. Like you got to be focused. It's so many things to sidetrack, and it's just not from sports. It just sidetrack you from school, your career goals. And I'm hoping to touch somebody and wake them up before it's too late. Giving out pointers that where I went on wrong in my career, and hope they capitalize and catch on and have a better career for themselves. Like another thing, as I told y'all when I was fighting the Golden Gloves, as I got older, I started veering off, getting off track. I had a girlfriend. I left the gym for a while. I was kicking it in the streets, doing things, into things. And my father, home now, I'm 22. My father looked at me like, Pope, it's time to turn pro, man. And I'm trying to impress my father, like, Dad, look at your son, man. I'm getting money. I got a nice car. I had a little car on 22s. I had a car on 20-inch radio laser spokes. A lime green Chevy with the white top. I'll never forget that. But I'm showing my dad. I'm trying to impress him and shit. He looking at me like man, I'm gonna put all these motherfucking skills on you. So, but my father he never made me. Let's go. It's time. It was all. He always gave me my choice. It was my decision, and I feel like I regretted it. I feel like my father should have pressed me and made me see the picture, but I didn't see the picture. So all my prime years went past, and I didn't turn pro till I was 28 years old. I started getting it then. I started trying to play catch up, taking fights for the money. By the way, my pro record is 4 wins, 4 losses, and 2 draws. I took all my fights at last minute notices, except for the first 2. I was with Jack Lowe, whom trained Kelly Pavlik, whom I got history with, fighting Kelly Pavlik. I got so many names under my belt that people won't believe it. Like, man, you was really into that shit like that. Like the people I went to school with, yeah, I was like that. I was really like that, man. And I lost vision. But when pops came home, I wasted time in the street. I ain't turned pro till I was like 28. I won my first 2 by knockout. I lost my third and fourth, so that made me 2-2. Then I won against a dude named Tommy Raynaud in his hometown in Staten, New York, or something like that. It's near the Long Island. Then I had a bang out with Chris Algieri, a former world champion. Then Ken Porter, Sean Porter's dad, called me one time he say, Pope, like, what's up? I was out in the streets, in the barber shop. I was a barber at the time, smoking weed, drinking, which I shouldn't have been doing. He say, I'll get you a fight, man. They offering 8,000 against Twin. At the time, I didn't really know Twin was Adrian Bronner, but he like, yeah, Adrian Bronner. They offering 8,000. I went down. I had to make. At the time I was about 154. I had to make 140 or 139. I left that day. The shop just was shredding weight. Got down. I told my father about the call because I used to be called. They used to be calling me. I used to be negotiating my own fights, which once again, my dude Miguel Gonzalez, Silky Smooth Gonzalez, that I interviewed, spoke on, like, if you're not with the right team, your career gonna be what it is. So I told my father about the fight. He like, look, man, I ain't gonna be going with you to these fights and you ain't training properly. I didn't put you in the game to do this. But at the time, I wasn't trying to hear that. I'm chasing the bag. Like, bro, they about to give me 8 bands. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I need that. I need that 8 bands. I'm going to get that shit. I looked at it like I'm a trained boxer, but that was like me street fighting a dude. Like, we boxing, but during my era, growing up in my time, you better not be no hoe ass nigga to nobody. Like that's how I looked at that shit. So I went down there, and of course I lost the fight. I was dehydrated. And I'm not making no excuses because I shouldn't have took the fight. There's no excuse. I mean, he won. You know, Adrian Bronner, he's a nice fighter, but he won the fight. But I was looking at the big picture. Like if I beat this name, put him under my belt, I probably could get a bigger picture. So I went down there and fought him, got the 8,000, came back, and after that fight, I started looking at my life and my career like, man, do I want this shit to be like this? So I started trying to get serious and get it together. And I believe after the Adrian Broner fight, that's when I fought Chris Algieri. And it was it was like June 6th. Yeah, it was like June 6th. I fought Chris Algieri and we banged. We banged. My father liked that fight to this day. They gave him out. They gave him the fight because they probably felt like he edged me out in the later rounds. In the early rounds, I felt like I was when I had the tempo going and I had it under control. But he probably edged me out in the later rounds, or the fight could have been a draw. I mean, y'all could decide to look at the fight, but I felt like I did enough to win it. But I was fighting these guys in their own hometowns out in New York, Cincinnati. I go down there. You know, I was fighting these guys in their hometown, so I was taking these fights. And at the end of my record being 4-4-2, I feel like I did a good job. After I fought Chris Algieri though, June 28th, June 26th, I fought one of my dudes. I I really didn't want to take this fight, but it was just something I was going through at the time. You know, I wasn't getting no money, and it was a lot of things going on. But I got this phone call. Stay tuned in, because you're going to want to hear this story. Yeah, welcome back to Ambitious Build Champion. I was just telling y'all the story about when I fought Chris Algieri, and then June 2 or 3 weeks later, I fought Chris Algieri June 6th. Like 2 or 3 weeks later, June 20 something, 26, 28th, I get a phone call from my pops. He like, Poe. I'm like, yeah, what's up, Dad? He say, how'd you feel about fighting one of the Bay brothers? And I'm like, it was like my brothers, Mickey Bay and Cortez Bay. It was like my little brothers. We from the same neighborhood. During the amateur days, I used to go around there and train with them. I would spend the night at their house. They'd spend the night at my house. We used to be sucking on ice to make weight. Like we really went through the trenches with this shit. We really, but I was before them. I'm older than them. That's another story. But I'm older than them. I'm before them. So, you know, them was really like my little bros and shit. So my father called me. He like, yeah, man. I was talking to Joe Maxey. My father was reading the Plain Dealer paper, and he saw them do write ups. It was on a couple people. I think Warren McPherson was in there. Mickey and them was in there for sure, and probably a couple other fathers. My father called Joe Maxey after he read the paper. He's like, man, why every time I read the paper, you writing about these guys? And my son been representing Cleveland since he was 11 or 12 years old. He's like, I bet you if you sweat any of these dudes down to his weight, my son will whoop him. That's what my father told me. He said, he told Joe Maxey, I bet you if you sweat any of these guys down to my son's weight, he'll whoop them. So my pops had called and told me about it, right? I'll say, well, they're my dudes, but you my dad. You put me in the game to be the best. So I'm not going to say I'm not going to fight. So we didn't know which Bay brother he was talking about, but later on we found out it was Cortez Bay. Much love to my dudes. They're still my bros today, even if they don't know it. But anyway, we get the confirmation that it's Cortez Bay. So, you know, now the streets buzzing. I get phone calls from guys like, "Who? Tell me it ain't true. You fight Cortez?" Like, yeah, man. He like, man, I hope. You know, I was getting several phone calls from people. I ain't the type to put names out there because I don't clout chase or do none of that. But there was several people I got phone calls from. when they found out me and Cortez were fighting. And Cortez and Mickey, they was on a roll. They was on a high pedestal. They was in Floyd Mayweather camp. First they was with Roy Jones. Then I guess I don't know. I don't really know the stipulations, but I know they was with Roy Jones at first. Then they end up being with the money team, Floyd Mayweather. So you know they got a lot of things going on, and they got a lot of things going on. And I get a phone call to fight one of them. I took it. So we up to it leading to the fight. I went to different gyms training, going around to different gyms training and everything. And they like, oh, you fight Cortez? Yeah. And they saying all these things about these guys like, yeah, I hope you whip his ass. I hope you stop them. Who the motherfuckers think they is? They come to Cleveland. When they come to Cleveland, they want everybody to get out the gym. We the ones that made the motherfuckers. And I felt where people was coming from. Like, we built you. We the ones got you going. I mean, you put your work in. Ain't nobody ever taking the credit from what you did. You put your work in, but we built you. We all came up around each other. So, when I'm going around training me and my pops and my little bro and a couple other fighters, they telling us like, yeah, I hope you stop him. I hope this and that. Man, fight now, you should have seen this shit. Everybody who was talking that shit, some of them, they going over the rules in the locker room. They all in this locker room, like Cortez, yeah, clapping, dapping him up and shit. You feel me? I'm just staying loose, looking at him. Like I said, I looked at them as my little brother. So ain't no way I was gonna let him beat me. That's like let my little brother whoop me in a fight. So, we get in the ring, we fought, and I came out unanimous that night. I mean, the fight is on YouTube. You can check it out. But I came out unanimous that night. And after that fight, I probably had one more fight with a guy named Jake Garusio. I really don't know how to pronounce his name. And I got a draw on that. So I don't want people to get it twisted about Poe from Cleveland. I really put my work in this shit, and before I stepped away, my last fight was a draw, but I really thought I was won, and I was starting to be focused. The last fight I fought, I got that draw against the dude in Youngstown, Jake Garusio. I really whooped his ass, and I just got discouraged, and other things started happening. My mom ended up passing away, and I just stopped for what I don't know, but I had to readjust to life, being without my mom, and I think I was about 31 when my mom died. And life took its course. So this just a little insight to give y'all a view on who page is this and where I be coming from. I'm not like these frauds out here. I'm not a boxing freak or none of that shit. Like, I'm a dude that really put my work in with this shit, this boxing shit. But my page is not only going to be about boxing. Like I said, it's going to be about different things. I just want to give y'all insight on who behind this shit and how this shit going. Stay tuned in. I got a lot of other shit coming. Y'all stay positive. And if you could take something positive from my thing, uplift you, learn from it, do that.